Yes, Prabhu, you are audible.
Yes, Prabhu, you're audible. You can start your video also if you're okay.
Yeah, start.
Mukam karoti vachalam pangun bangayati kirim yatkipatam bandhu Sri Gurudev Sar Parmananda Madhavam. So now we progress on to the verse number 16 of chapter number 8, Canto 2, where there is a set of questions being asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukdev Goswami. So the methodology of asking the question is shown over here. It says, Pramanamanda koshasya bhayabhyantara bhedatah Mahatam Chanucharitam Varnashrama Vinishchayah.
Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classification of the castes and orders of social life. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It is quite fitting for the real searcher of the knowledge to know all about it. Those who are of the opinion that the devotees of the Lord are satisfied with mere sentiments can find in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit good lessons as to how inquisitive a pure devotee is to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientist is unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon and what to speak of the space which covers the universe. Maharaj Parikshit is not satisfied with only material knowledge. He is inquisitive about the character and activities of the great souls and the devotees of the Lord. The great glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees combined together comprise the complete knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna showed his mother the complete universal creation within his mouth, while she, completely charmed by her son, wanted to look inside the mouth of the Lord just to see how much earth the child had eaten. By the grace of the Lord, the devotees are able to see everything in the universe within the mouth of the Lord. The very idea of the scientific divisions of the four classes of human society and four orders of the life is also inquired about herewith on the basis of individual personal quality. The four divisions are exactly like the four divisions of one's personal body. The parts and parcel of the body are non-different from the body, but by themselves they are not only parts. That is the significance of the whole scientific system of the four castes and four social orders. The value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotional service to the Lord. Any person employed in the government service, including the president, is a part and parcel of the entire government. Everyone is a government servant, but no one no one is the government himself. That is the position of all living entities in the government of the Supreme Lord. No one can artificially claim the supreme position of the Lord, but everyone is meant to serve the purpose of the supreme whole. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the first question asked by Sri Parikshit Maharaj is, can you just come to the shloka, Prabhu? Yeah. So it says, Pramanam anda koshasya. Give me the extent of the measures of the universe, outer space, inner space, and the division of the great souls, the characters and activities, the varna and ashram, and the life order. So this one question completely puts things into perspective, which is called Vishwa Virat Swarup. When the Virat Swarup of the Lord was shown by the Lord to Arjuna, it also showed the different planetary systems that it had. So now it talks about the inner and the outer space by divisions. So divisions means it is Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Bhu is Bhumi, Bhuvar is the inner space, and Swa is the Swargalok. Then above the Swargalok, there are various kinds of planetary systems. Same is down below the earth is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatal, and Patal. So 7 down, 7 up is total planetary system, including Earth is planetary systems are Earth. Can you just go down to the purport, Prabhu? So here it shows that Maharaj Parikshit was not satisfied only with material knowledge. He was inquisitive about the character and activities of the great souls devotee. So sometimes people say that devotees are sentimental fools. They live only by sentiments. But here Parikshit Maharaj is showing that how a pure devotee should understand the Lord's creation. Many a times it so happens that people jump into the Ras Leelas, direct 10th canto. They bypass the first 9 canto, go to the 10th canto, and they start exploring Rasa Panchadhyay, chapter number 29 to 33, thinking that they are experts in understanding the subject matter. But eventually what happens? Lust overtakes them and there is a fall down. Why? Because they did not go by the various characteristics of the Lord's activities. The Lord in the Kurukshetra of the war of Kurukshetra and the Lord in Ras Leela are the same. You cannot differentiate both of them, telling that I am only interested in this and not that. We cannot be like cherry pickers, or not. Neither it can be piecemeal parcels. But end of the day, here Srila Prabhupada writes about the Leela of the Brahmanda Ghat, where Krishna ate some mud and then Mother Yashoda came and said, open your mouth. And once she opened the mouth, she could see the whole universe within the Lord, your stomach. And at the same time, she could see herself and Krishna standing. So she was bewildered by Krishna's Yoga Aishwarya. So this one part of the story shows that even in the Krishna Leela, Krishna showed his power about being the supreme controller. Now we'll just go down, Prabhu, a little bit. Idea of the scientific division of 4 classes. Yeah. And Parikshit Maharaj also wanted to know about the Varna and the Ashram. So why that scientific value is there? Because everybody is not a Brahmana, everybody is not a Vaishya, everybody is not a Shudra, and everybody is not a Kshatriya. It all depends upon the qualities. That is the reason Bhagavad Gita says, Guna Karma Vibhagasa. As per the gun, you have to do the karma. So many a times it so happens that when we are choosing that what career should our children go for, so that is the time you should see what gunas they have and what they are capable of. So if the gun is of a Kshatriya and you put him into a Shudra job, he will not fructify. Same way, the gun is of a Shudra and you put him into a Kshatriya bhav, it will not happen. Like it happened with one of our friends' nephew. The friend wanted the daughter to be a chartered accountant. She wrote chartered accountant entrance exam almost 12 times and she failed because she was not interested in becoming chartered accountant. Her interest was in home science. So then we had a chat with the parents. They said, why you are doing this? They said, no, हम नहीं बन सके हमारा बच्चा बनेगा. I said, see, that does not work that way. She is a talented lady when it comes to beautifying the house. When she beautifies the house, you can see that she is a perfect home science material. Eventually they gave in and now she has become a very good home science designer. So that is the reason it says that it is a scientific thing. The value of such divisions in homes can be ascertained in terms of proportionate development to devotional service. And when you are able to do it in a devotional way, it enhances our credibility as far as material things are also concerned. No one can artificially claim the supreme position. Last and not the least, as much as possible, we have to understand that it is only by the mercy of the Lord and his devotees we are able to perform or being successful. Once we had Gaurang Prabhu, from the Govardhan Eco Village, the director. He had come to give a lecture in Dubai. So we were listening to him. This was around 12 years back. So he spoke about the latest, that time was, I think, the Airbus A380 had come. And everybody was gaga about the technology. So he was discussing the beauty, the ambience, the technology, the safety and everything. And he said that what makes the aircraft to be successful in its endeavor, to give the best of the possible things. So we all spoke about technology, latest this and gadgets and all. He said, listen, you people are missing the biggest thing. What if there is no fuel in the tank? What will happen? So the entire technology is of no use. So same way, when devotees, they prosper in life, or when you prosper in life, somebody else is actually praying or wanting you to succeed. And because of that prayers, or because of that dua, जिसको हम बोलते हैं, Ashirwad, we are able to be successful. So same way, we should not forget that the Lord and the devotees, his devotees are very, very merciful. They are para dukkha dukhi. We'll go to the next verse now.
Prabhu,
Meanwhile,
in the third paragraph, the very idea of the scientific divisions of four classes of human society and four orders of life is also inquired about here with on the basis of individual personal quality. What exactly is on the basis of individual personal quality?
individual personal quality is guna. That's what I said, no? Chatur varnam maya srishtam guna karma vibhasya. When you say that, if you do not have the guna of a Brahmana, even if you are a son of a Brahmana or born in a Brahmanical family, your behavior will not be like a Brahmana. Your activities will not be like a Brahmana. In our this, if you say, do you understand the word aptitude test, Prabhu? Have you heard
Yes,
of
yes,
this word aptitude
yes,
test?
yes.
Why the aptitude test is done? Like, for example, my father wanted me to be a chartered accountant. And in the 11th standard of when I joined FYJC Commerce, in the first unit test, I got 3 out of 25 in bookkeeping. And in the first term, that is the midterm exam, I got 5 out of 100. I went to my father and I said, Dad, this is what your son is all about. मुझे account समझ में नहीं आता. आप push कर रहे हो लेकिन मुझे नहीं आता. If a person like me becomes CA, the company is sure to go to losses. You please remove me out of it. Then in the 11th standard, they changed me from commerce to technical studies. And the moment I went into technical studies, this was fish in the water. I shone very well over there and I did very good. So it means what? If you are not having the guna, the karma will never be fructified. Many a times the children, they live the dreams of their parents, but they do not fructify their potentials. So that is the reason it says that you have to have the guna. The value of the scientific divisions can be ascertained in proportional development of devotional service to the Lord. You get the point, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Yugani yugamanam cha. Yeah. Yugani yugamanam cha. Dharmoyascha yuge yuge. Avataраनुचरितम. Yadascharayamam harehe.
Hare
I'll
Krishna.
do it, Prabhuji.
Okay,
Go ahead,
Prabhuji.
go ahead.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Please explain all the different ages in the duration of the creation and also duration of such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of the different incarnations of the Lord in different ages. Lord Krishna is originally personality of Godhead, and all the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, although non-different from him, are emanations from the Supreme. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the great and learned sage Sukadeva Goswami about the different activities of such incarnations, so that the incarnation of the Lord might be confirmed by his activities in the authoritative scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit was not to be carried away by the sentiments of the common man to accept an incarnation of the Lord very cheaply. Instead, he wished to accept the incarnation of the Lord by symptoms mentioned in the Vedic literatures and confirmed by an Acharya like Sukadeva Goswami. The Lord descends by his internal energy without any obligations to the laws of material nature, and thus his activities are also uncommon. The specific activities of the Lord are mentioned, and one should know that the activities of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical due to being on the absolute plane. Thus, to hear the activities of the Lord means to associate with the Lord directly, and association with the Lord directly means purification from material contamination. We have already discussed this point in the previous volume. Hare Krishna.
So there is a beautiful statement over here that Parikshit Maharaj was not carried away by the sentiments of the common man to accept the incarnation of the Lord very cheaply. Can anyone tell me their experience on this particular thing, incarnation of the Lord very cheaply? In your experience, do you see incarnations of the Lord in the roads of India nowadays?
Yes, Prabhu. Nityananda
Yeah.
and the Sai Baba kind of.
Yeah. Radhema is there.
Yeah.
Asharam Bapu is also like one of them.
Aksaram Bapu is there.
So Ram Rahim
So this incarnation of the Lord is not very cheap, dear. Because see, I'll tell you, when the Varaha Avatar came from the nostrils of Lord Brahma, yeah, and he took a gigantic form, all the devotees and the Brahmanas and the Rishi Munis were terrified. This I'm giving you the background from Sri Sampradaya, where Ramanujacharya has written a commentary on Bhagavatam, and he explains that already the people were terrified by Hiranyaksha's demonic activities and his demonic looks. And when Varahadev came, they thought, "Arey Baba, एक से परेशान है, ये दूसरा कहाँ से आया?" But when they saw the fight between both of them, initially they thought that one demon is trying to get the Varchasva over other. But then the Rishi Munis and the Brahmanas, by the dint of their scriptural knowledge, they started to ascertain the qualities, Lakshan, जिसको हम बोलते हैं. In astrology, there is something called Samudra Shastrika. In Samudra Shastrika, आप शरीर के लक्षण को देख के बता सकते कि ये मनुष्य कैसा होगा और कौन होगा. So they started to scan the Lord from feet to the head. As they were scanning, they came and they stopped on the eyes of the Lord. When they stopped on the eyes of the Lord, they could see that there are certain qualities, like at the end of the eyes, there were reddish. The eyes were reddish color and it was more red over here. And the eyes were petal shaped of lotus. So immediately, what was the new name they gave? Lohitaksha. Lohit means blood red. Normally, your lotus is pinkish in color, but this was reddish pink. And they realized that this is Vishnu himself, because Lohitaksha can only be Vishnu and nobody else. Because we also call Rajiva Lochan, Padma Nayan, Kamal Nayan. So it says in Lohitaksha means one whose eyes are petal shaped, but it is reddish at the end of this. And then so this way, this is how you understand the Lord. Like in the 10th canto, when Krishna was born, it says, the Madbhutam Balakam Ambujekshanam Chaturbhujam. Chaturbhujam. Which child is born with 4 hands? Komalangam, Srivatsanka. On the chest, there was Mahalakshmika Chinna. Kirita Kundala. There was Kirit and Kundala. There was Kaustubh Mani. There was Vaidurya Mani. And he was with Shankha Chakra Padma Gada. So when someone says that I am the incarnation of Krishna, make an appointment with his mother and check with the mother if all these things had happened over there. Whether he was wearing a Pitambar Vastra. We all know how we were born, clothless, without clothes. And that too, if the doctor would not spank our back, we would not start to cry. So that is the condition. But in Krishna's case, he is the supreme. And that is the reason he says, the Lord descends on his internal energy without any obligation of the laws of material nature. So what is that particular word? Yada yada hi dharmasya glaner bhavati bharata abhyukta nama dharmasya tadatmanam. What is the last word? Tadatmanam
Srujamyaham.
Srijamyaham. It means I come on my own accord, not by karma. Tad Atmanam Srijamyaham means I myself am supreme, and through my internal potency I come. And that is the reason Shukdev Goswami is asking the Acharya like Shukdev, Parikshat Maharaj is asking Shukdev that, my dear Acharya, you please tell me what is the Lakshan of the incarnation, what are the different incarnation, what are the different ages, and what are the activities done, in what duration of time this happened. So this is how this particular verse culminates into. Any doubt in this particular, any point doubt over here? Or can we go to the next, Prabhus and Matajis?
Yes, Prabhu, we can move.
So text 18. Text 18.
Rao Prabhu. Rao Prabhu, are you there?
He is on mute.
Okay, I'll read the text 18. Nidam sadharano dharmaha सैवशेषश्च यादर्शः श्रेणीनां राजश्रीणां च धर्मकृच्छेषु जीवात्मा जीवताम्.
I'll read the translation, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliation of human society, as well as their specific occupational duties in religion, the classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The common religion of all classes of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be in devotional service. Even the animals may be included in devotional service to the Lord. And the best example is set by Sri Vijayaranga Vajrangji or Hanuman, the great devotees of Lord Sri Ram. As we have already discussed, even the aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of a genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Puran, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of the Lord by the guidance of Sri Narada Muni. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord can be equally shared by every living being. Religious affiliation in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not the common religion of the human being. Rather, the basic principle is devotional service. Even if a particular type of religious principle does not recognize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of a religious sect is never the supreme leader, because such a circumstantial leader comes to the position of leadership after undergoing some penance. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not, however, require to be under disciplinary action to become a leader, as we see in the activities of Lord Krishna. The occupational duties of the castes and the orders of society, following the principles of livelihood, also depend on the principles of devotional service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by awarding the results of his occupational duty onto the devotional service of the Lord. People following the principles of devotional service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be any question of apadharma or religion in distress, as will be explained in this book by the greatest authority, Srila Sukadev Goswami. there is no religion save and expect the devotional service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, three wonderful points in this actually we are having. It says as Nirnanam Sadharano Dharmaha, Shreyanam Raja Rishinam Cha Dharma Krichechu Jivatma. What is the sadharan or the common dharma of the man? The common dharma of the man can be clearly mentioned as Srila Prabhupada says that it should be devotional service. Even animals can be included in the devotional service. The best example is said by Sri Bajrangi or Hanuman. So can we all start counting the animal devotees of the Lord? Hanuman is one. Next is
Rat, basically. They are
yeah,
devotees or
the
not?
Mushak for Ganpati, okay? Huh?
Jatayu.
Jatayu, it is Garud.
Garud, then the peacock.
But yes, Jatayu is a devotee. Yes, you can count. The devotees and the Vahan, both can be counted. Yeah, please go ahead. Jatayu, okay.
Peacock.
Gajendra.
Gajendra,
Jambavan.
Jambuan, yes. Jambuan,
Peacock.
absolutely right.
Nandi.
Nandi, yes. Because it does not matter. Right now, we are not looking only the Supreme Personality. We are looking at the Pashu Jati or Pakshi Jati or reptiles who are the devotee of the Lord and serving the Lord. What about
Snake. The
Shveshnath,
cobra.
Kantakaram, Bhujagashayanam, Bhujang?
Even Kalia can be considered as a devotee, right?
Yes, Kalia also became a devotee afterwards. Yes.
Garuda.
The
Although,
Yama, buffalo.
pardon, buffalo for the yam, yes. There is crow also for yam. Peacock is there for Kartike. Alligator for Gangaji. And swan for Brahmadev. And owl for Ullu किसके लिए?
Lakshmi ji.
Saraswati Mata.
Mahalakshmi ji.
Mahalakshmi.
नहीं,
Yeah.
सरस्वती का तो स्वान है. Mahalakshmi का उल्लू है.
Tortoise also is there, no?
Yes, Kurma is there.
But he is Lord himself.
He is the Lord himself, absolutely.
Okay.
So you see, there are even the squirrels you can take because the squirrels got that Ashirwad of the Lord Ramachandra on their back for their service attitude towards the Lord. Yeah. So even vultures are there. Sampati and Garuda, they belong, Sampati belongs to Garuda vulture family. So what does this goes to show? That it is not only human beings, but even animals can be. And I will read one verse for you. What Hanuman has got to say about Lord Ramachandra from the Canto number 5, chapter number 19, verse number 7. It says, Na janmanunam mahato na saubhagam navan na buddhir na kritis tosha hetu tairyad vishritan apino vanokashas chakara sakhaye bat lakshmanangrajaha. So Hanuman is telling, na janma. I do not have any high parentage birth. क्योंकि एक बंदर है, बंदर का पेरेंटेज का क्या गिनना? न जन्मनूनम महतो न सौभागम. मैं भाग्यशाली नहीं हूं कि किसी बहुत बड़े कुल या संप्रदाय से बिलोंग करता हूं. न वान, हम बंदरों को बात करने का भी वृत्ति नहीं है. न बुद्धिर, हमको ये नहीं पता है कि किधर कैसे बिहेव करना है, उछल कूद करते रहते. न आकृतिस, आकृति मतलब खूबसूरती. How does a monkey look? By any chance, do you feel that he is beautiful or attractive? No, na akritis. Tosha hetuhum. तो जब ये सब क्वालिटीज ने तो आपको संतुष्टि कैसे दे? या तैर्यद विरस्तान न वनकोस. और आगे क्या लिखता है कि तैर्यद, ये सब जो क्वालिटीज है, these are rejectable qualities. None of these are acceptable qualities. And the worst of it is what? We are vanokashas. Vanokashas मतलब हम वनवासी है, जंगल में रहने वाले हैं, पेड़ों पे रहने वाले हैं, डीप जंगल में रहते हैं. लेकिन फिर भी चकार सखये बत लक्ष्मणाग्रज है. चकार means accepted. सखय मतलब फ्रेंडशिप. लक्ष्मणाग्रज मतलब भगवान रामचंद्र जो लक्ष्मण के बड़े भाई है. तो लक्ष्मण के बड़े भाई रामचंद्र जी आपका फैमिली नहीं देखते हैं, भाग्य नहीं देखते हैं, बोलने का प्रवृत्ति नहीं देखते हैं, बुद्धि नहीं देखते हैं, शरीर की खूबसूरती नहीं देखते हैं. इन सब चीज से भगवान खुश नहीं होते. वो किससे खुश होते हैं? हमारे एप्टीट्यूड से, हमारे एटीट्यूड से, हमारे भक्ति से. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू सी लॉर्ड रामचंद्र, वट एवर ही सेड लक्ष्मण डिड इट. तो जब भी हम हनुमान चालीसा गाते हैं क्या बोलते हैं? जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश राम कृत हेतु. भगवान का किसी भी कार्य में ना भरत, ना शत्रुघ्न, ना लक्ष्मण उतने तत्पर रहते थे जितने के हनुमान रहते थे. यू सी ही ब्रिंग्स दैट संजीवनी माउंटेन. मतलब कहने की बात ही नहीं है. सो व्हाट डज इट गोज टू शो? It goes to show that the Lord accepts everyone's service. He is not partial at all. इसमें आपको मैं एक कथा सुनाता हूँ. Maybe this katha I can finish it after finishing the shlokas for the day. Otherwise, we'll miss on completing the portion. So that is one thing. And then also in the another thing, it says that religious affiliation of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not common religion of the human being. Rather, the basic principle is devotional service. So if you go to see at different time, place, and circumstances, the Lord has either been personally incarnated or he has sent his messengers, or we say as the Shakti-Avesh avatar. So when you go to the little bit on the Middle East side, it starts from Abraham, then it goes to Moses, then it comes to Jesus, then it comes to Prophet Muhammad. So these are Abrahamic religion. So they have like Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Then you come a little bit in Central Asia, where we used to have Iran. It used to be done by Farsis, who used to be worshipping fire. So same way, you see different parts of the world, different cultures were there, but each one had a concept of accepting the Lord as the supreme. By love or by force, that was invariably not counted. Because many a times you see that people say we are God-fearing people. Well, you need to fear the God if you are done the wrong things. Otherwise, we are God-loving people. Looking at Radha Krishna's photo, how many people can become fearful? Now you look at Subal Prabhu's DP over here. It shows Krishna with the flute. So looking at this, will you feel horrified or peaceful? What do you say? Anybody? Looking at a Radha Krishna deity, how do
No,
you
it's
feel?
pleasing, Prabhu.
It's pleasing, yeah.
Acha, when you look at Bhadrakali or Lord Narsimha, how does it look?
There you feel scared.
Yeah, the terror is there in your heart, you know. But then that is what Srishti and Purush can do. That if you keep doing wrong things, they one day then they are going to terrify you with their terrible attribute. That is the reason when Ugra Narsimha came, people were shocked. Even for a minute, what do you say? Hiranyakashipu also missed a beat in his heart. That what happened? Who came out? And a similar situation arose with Mahisasur. When Mahisasur became terrorizing the world, when Mother Durga took her Vikral form of 20 hands, and when the lion ferociously roared, and when Mother Durga also roared loudly, Mahisasur felt, oh, what happened to me? So we have to understand that the common principles are devotional service, specific religion, occupational duties, following the orders of the society is specific to your Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Varna and Ashram. What Varna you belong to and what Ashram you belong to. Accordingly, we all have a Naitik Swabhav and Naitik responsibilities. So that's how this goes. Okay, I will show that afterwards. Yeah. So two things remind me. I want to show you one chart and I want to tell you one katha. You can go to the next. Unless somebody has a doubt in this. तत्वाना परिसंख्यायन लक्षणम हेतु लक्षणम पुरुषार्थना विधिर योगस्य आद्य Yogya sadhyatmitakasya cha. Kindly explain, yeah.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes, and their development, and also the process of devotion service and the method of mystic powers. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
So now they are talking about the 24 creative elements, 5 senses, 5 jnana senses, 5 karma indriya, mind, intelligence, ego, soul, and super soul. So those things they are talking about, we'll look into it afterwards. Verse number 20. Yogaishwarya gatir lingabhangas tu yoginam vedopaveda dharmanam itihasa puranayaho.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
Brother.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Translation Papa Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. What are the appealance of the great mystic, and what is their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What is the basic knowledge of the Vedic literature, including the branches of history and supplementary Puranas? The Yogeshwara, or the master of mystic powers, can be exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than the atom or lighter than a feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky, etc. There are many Yogeshwaras having different proficiency in these wonderful powers, and the topmost of all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi, and he can perform such wonderful things far beyond the ordinary living being. The devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers, but by the grace of the Lord, his devotees can defeat even a great Yogeshwara like Durvasa Muni, who picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarisha and wanted to show the wonderful achievements of his mystic powers. Maharaj Ambarisha was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus, without any effort on his part, the Lord saved him from the wrath of Yogeshwara Durvasa Muni, and the latter was obliged to beg pardon from the king. Similarly, at the time of Draupadi's precarious position, when she was attacked by the Kurus who wanted to see her naked in the open assembly of the royal order, the Lord saved her from being stripped by supplying an unlimited length of sari to cover her. And Draupadi knew the nothing of mystic powers. Therefore, the devotees are also Yogeshwaras by the unlimited power of the Lord, just as child is powerful by strength of the parent. They do not try to protect themselves by any artificial means, but are saved by the mercy of the parent. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the learned Brahmana Sukadeva Goswami about the ultimate destination of such mystic, or how they attain such ordinary powers by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired, Prabhuji, can you please move the screen? Hare Krishna. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the learned Brahmana Sukadeva Goswami about the ultimate destination of such mystic, or how they attain such extraordinary powers by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired also about their detachment from the subtle and gross material bodies. He inquired also about the purpose of the Vedic knowledge, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15.15. The whole purport of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become transcendental loving servant of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhu, can you just bring it a little bit down? Yeah, no, no need for the verse to be shown. Only show me the purport, Prabhu. Translation and purport. Thank you. Yeah. So when you use the word Yogeshwara, so one who's the master of the yogis, and yogis, they normally get Ashtasiddhis, Anima, Lagima, Mahima. There are 8 kinds of siddhis, and those siddhis may, the topmost of the Yogeshwaras is Lord Shiva. Like Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Of all the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the topmost. Of all the Siddhi Praptis also, Lord Shiva is the topmost. He is the Yogeshwara. If you remember that in one of the life episodes of Sri Hanumanji, at one point of time, Hanuman was so mischievous because he was a powerful person. But children seldom understand the responsibility. With power comes great responsibility. So he used to go and play pranks on all the Rishi Munis, eating their fruits, running away. And the Rishi Munis could never do anything to him because he was very, very, very swift and powerful. So one day what happened? One Rishi Muni cursed him that may you forget all your powers and may you remember it only when it is most required for the upliftment of humanity. So once that happened, Hanuman lost all his powers. So much so that he lost all his bodily strength also. Then Lord Shiva, the Yogeshwar, because Hanuman was his Amsha, came down on the request of Parvati and taught him the Ashtasiddhi, Ashtanga Yoga system, by which he could become smallest of the small, biggest of the big. And by that time, Hanuman was already matured. So you can see that, he uses that Anima Lagima to show his strength sometimes. And this will be shown in his story also, the next story when I'm going to tell you about Hanuman's this. So this is one part of it. But for a devotee, he need not think about getting this Anima Lagima power. Why? Because this power comes from Krishna. To put it in perspective in this way, let me tell you one thing. Suppose one of us have got the Ashtasiddhi. So we can expand into eight expansions. Like Radhapada Pankaj can become 8 Radhapada Pankaj. And I can go anywhere. But the only issue is what? Whatever the original Radhapada Pankaj is doing, the 7 will also follow in the same. Now see Krishna's Anima and Lagima Siddhi. In the Bhagavatam and in which Puran is it? Samhita? Garga Samhita. It is said that when Krishna's children were getting married, Yashoda Maya, Devaki Maya, Vasudev, Ugrasen, and all the close counterparts of Krishna expanded into 10 in each family, because each Krishna from each wife had 10 sons and 1 daughter. So 10 बेटों की जब शादी हो रही थी तो 10 मंडप थे. So they had to be in all the places. But what was the beauty? As I told you that in the earthly power, what the original activity does, suppose if I am sneezing, the 10 will sneeze. If I am sleeping, the 10 will sleep. If I am running, but there they were independent of each other. By Krishna's internal potency, in one area, Ugrasen Maharaj was blessing the couple. In one area, he was sitting and talking to the, invitees. So different ways. So you see, there is so much of difference. So for devotees, you need not worry. When requirement comes, the empowerment will come. And 2 stories are given here about Draupadi and Amrish Maharaj, that how they were protected. And also, those who are the devotee of the Lord, they need not make a separate endeavor to get out of the astral body. Astral body means Sukshma Sharir. One is Sthul, Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham. Panch Mahabhut se bana. Kham, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar se bana hua subtle body hai. So to go out of the subtle body also, you require to have Krishna's mercy and this. On your own, you cannot do it. So there are many yogis who have practiced the Ashtanga Yoga and they give up the body at the right time. Out of which Bhishma Pitama epitomized the leaving of the body's process, but not on his own in front of Sri Krishna. So even if you are an Ashtanga yogi, Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yamam samayukta tato mataha. A yogi who is doing Shraddhavan bhajate yumam and concentrating on my form he is the best of all. So becoming an Ashtanga yogi is not a problem. But end of the day, on what feature you should concentrate? On the Shankha Chakra Padma Gada Ashtanga Chaturbhuj Narayana Roop. Minimum. That is the basic minimum. So here it shows that extraordinary powers by their own efforts and grace of the Lord, and detachment from the subtle body is also mentioned. Any doubts in this before we go ahead? Shall we go to verse 21?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, not very good doubt, but still I want to ask something relating this
Yeah.
siddhis only.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, I have heard many senior devotees during Prabhupada's time. They talk now, they have seen him not walking on the ground. So is that siddhi?
Yeah. That is a siddhi which comes by purity. No need to specially go for it. Because of his pure devotional service, he can see. I'll tell you, Mataji, in one of the conversations of Srila Prabhupada, one of the disciples asked him, Prabhupada, you say that wherever there is Krishna Katha, the Devis and Devtas, they come to listen to it. Have you ever seen them? He said, I see Narada and everyone every day, but I have no business with them. Till the time I'm involved in Krishna consciousness, that's my life. So he used to see Devi Devtas also.
Yes, Prabhuji, I have
Another
heard this.
thing I will tell you.
Yeah, this also. Yeah.
Prabhupada has an elder sister called Pishima.
Huh.
In the final days of the Leelas of Srila Prabhupada, he was so sick that he would only eat kanji.
Hmm.
Only kanji. But when Pishima would come, she would prepare a wholesome Bengali food. Anybody has ever eaten wholesome Bengali food? It will be 50% to 70% fried items. Deep fried and then sabji bana ke. Subal,
Yes, Prabhu.
है कि नहीं Bengali food कैसे होता है प्रभु?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that day Srila Prabhupada sat with Pishima and he ate a full course meal, Mataji, afternoon mein. A full course meal. So the disciples were very disturbed. They said, Prabhupada, you are not keeping well. Prabhupada said, please be away. My sister is there. I have to honor whatever she feeds me. It is Krishna Prasadam. Then they went to the doctor and they complained to the doctor. They said, doctor, this is what happened. So the doctor was also from a Bengali background. He said, you don't understand Srila Prabhupada. He is just performing a Leela. He is not sick. It is only that the time may have come, so he is performing to live. Otherwise, he can eat full course meal every day and still nothing would happen. And medical science will never be able to give an explanation how this happens. So, the devotees of the Lord are very different, Mataji. They are pure devotees. Take the case of Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, Mataji now.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
He is a living example of he has completely reversed the science. Completely. Medical science is in awe and wonder, like, awestruck कि ये कैसे हो सकता है. But he is doing it. Kadam Kanan Maharaj, when he was suffering from prostate cancer, stage 4, so normally they give morphine injections to overcome the pain because it is that much painful. We can never understand the pain because we have not gone through it. So it will be foolish on our part to say, Prabhu, I understand what you feel. It is only a sympathetic word. So I was talking, so Bibi Govind Maharaj, no, Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj was talking because he was the disciple of Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj. So Jayadvaita Maharaj said that in the last stage, the last 30 days, he stopped taking morphine injections. And devotees were surprised to see that he was able to control the pain by the dint of his devotional service, Mataji. He did not
Wow.
take a single drop of morphine or any painkiller, and then he quit his body in his own terms and conditions. So what kind of siddhi is that? Just comes by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, reading Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, going to the dham, and following the regulative principles in the best possible manner, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. संप्लवः सर्वभूतानां विक्रम प्रतिसंक्रमः इष्टपूर्तस्य काम्यानां त्रिवर्गस्य च यो विधिः.
I can read Prabhu. Translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Please explain unto me how the living beings are generated, how they are maintained, and how they are annihilated. Tell me also of the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service unto the Lord. What are the Vedic rituals and injunctions of the supplementary Vedic rites? And what are the procedures of religion, economic development, and sense satisfaction? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Samphalva, in the sense of perfect means, is employed to denote the discharging of devotional service, and Prati Samphala means just the opposite, or that which destroys the progress of devotional service. One who is firmly situated in the devotional service of the Lord can very easily execute the function of conditional life. Living the conditional life is just like playing a boat in the middle of the ocean. One is completely at the mercy of the ocean, and at every moment there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can ply very easily, undoubtedly. But if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean. However, one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the oceans by ship may have sufficient experience of such dependence upon the mercy of the ocean. But one can ply over the ocean of material existence by the grace of Lord very easily, without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. The devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety, because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord. Bhagavad Gita 9.13. The Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material conditional life. Bhagavad Gita 9.29. Therefore, everyone should take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be a pure devotee of the Lord by all means. One should know, therefore, from the expert spiritual master, the advantages and disadvantages of discharging devotional service, just as Maharaj Parikshit asked his spiritual master, Srila Sukadev Goswami. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the signs of devotional service, one should not eat more than what he requires to maintain body and soul together. Vegetable diets and milk are sufficient for maintenance of the human body, and therefore one has no need to eat anything more to satisfy the palate. One should also not accumulate money to become puffed up in the material world. One should earn his livelihood easily and honestly, for it is better to become a coolie for an honest livelihood than to become a great man in society by hook and crook. There is no harm if one becomes the richest man in the world by honest dealings, but one should not sacrifice the honest means of livelihood simply to accumulate wealth. Such an endeavor is harmful to devotional service. One should not talk nonsense. A devotee's business is to earn the favor of the Lord. Therefore, a devotee should always glorify the Lord in his wonderful creations. A devotee should not decry the creation of the Lord. defying him by saying that he has created a false world. The world is not false. Actually, we have to take so many things from the world for our maintenance. So how we can say that the world is false? Similarly, how can one think of the Lord as being without form? How can one become formless and at the same time have all intelligence and consciousness, direct and indirect? So there are many things for a pure devotee to learn, and he should learn them perfectly from a bona fide personality like Sukadev Goswami. The favorable conditions for discharging devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord in
Prabhu,
his, yes,
Prabhu, can you
Prabhuji.
just hold it for a minute because this purport is too big. I
Okay,
would like
Prabhuji.
to deal with the first two purports. When you heard the first two purports, just bring the first two purports first on the screen. Yeah. Any doubts, any questions in this for anybody? When you are reading or when you see that? One thing that I felt over this was the mercy of the ocean. Whether you are experienced or inexperienced, once the ship is in the ocean, you are all at its mercy. You understand in Prabhupada Lila Amrita when he was going through the Atlantic Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean showed its ferocious colors. And Prabhupada felt that he would never reach that destination, but leave the body within the ship itself. 2 massive heart attacks. So they were at the mercy of the ocean. But the moment the pure devotee cried and he said, "My dear the Lord Krishna, I am here to fulfill the desires of my spiritual master to go and spread your holy names in the Paschata Desha Tarine." And immediately the whole mercy, the ocean's mercy was overtaken by the Lord's power. So the whole of the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean could not do anything to Srila Prabhupada. In fact, Captain Pandya, who was a ship captain, said that he has never seen Atlantic so calm like a river. Why don't you keep traveling with us up and down so that we can have this part of the Atlantic covered in a very calm way? So this is what came in my mind when we were talking about this. Anything else on this before we go ahead?
प्रभु संप्लव का क्या मतलब हुआ? संप्लव
Just go to the word by word meaning and
perfect
see the first
means
word. Yeah. Complete devastation. Perfect means or complete devastation. Anything that could be in a perfect means. So in which way you will say complete devastation or perfect means? Let us take only perfect means from the perspective of sadhan required to discharge your devotional service. What are the perfect means to discharge your devotional service? Or what is the perfect means to destroy your devotional service? So perfect means to destroy, let's see. Not following the 4 regulative principles, not chanting your rounds, not listening to the spiritual master, doing Vaishnav Ninda, doing Seva Aparad, during not trusting the scriptures, the 10 offenses. So either way, Samplava means perfect, but perfect means can be used to, like E is equal to MC square could be a perfect means of generating electricity also and destroying the whole world by an atom bomb also. That's how
so
you
it is
can take
both
it from.
ways. It is both
It is
ways.
both ways. Perfect means or complete devastation. It is either way. That is the reason Srila Prabhupada also used Pratisamplava down, the very next line. And here it is in perspective to devotional service purely, Prabhu. Because many of us, we say we are devotees, but we are on the path of Pratisamplava because we do not follow it sincerely. We do not follow it rigorously. We do not follow it seriously. It's like a happy go lucky. मैं कर रहा हूँ ना बस इतना काफी है. इससे ज्यादा बाकी तो कोई ये भी नहीं करता बोल के. So that is how it works, Prabhu. And when it says that therefore everyone should take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and be pure devotee of the Lord. So there is a beautiful verse in Canto 10, chapter number 14, prayers by Lord Brahma. I think it is verse number 52. It says that Samashritaya pada pallava plavam Bhavat padam punya yasho murare. Bhavam buddhi vatsa padam param padam. Padam padam yad vipadana tesham. Samang ashritaya. The one who is the ashraya of everyone. Pada pallava plavam means? Pada pallava plavam means?
I love that picture. It's the best picture. I love Jawar.
So Pada pallava plavam means what? It says Pada means feet, Pallava means lotus or flower, and Plava means boat. So you can take it as a lotus feet of Lord Krishna. And it says that the entire ocean, Bhava Ambudhi, Samsar ka sagar bolte hain na, Bhav sagar, becomes like a feet of small Vasru. So that Vasru is there, which takes up and does everything. So the devotee just crosses the Bhav sagar as if he would jump over the small pothole made by the Vasru. And in the end, it says Padam Padam Yat Vipadana Tesham. It means Padam Padam Yat Vipadana Tesham means one thing is that on every step, कदम कदम पर हमको तकलीफें हैं, कदम कदम पर हमको विपत्तियां हैं, कदम कदम पर हमको विघ्न हैं. न तेषाम means when you are the devotee of the Lord, you will not have that problem. And न तेषाम also means without the mercy of the Lord, you cannot lead a life which is full of विघ्न. And विघ्न को निकालने के लिए आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? भगवान का लोटस फीट का शेल्टर लेना पड़ेगा. That is the reason one should ask the expert spiritual master the advantage and disadvantage of discharging the devotional service as Maharaj Parikshit asked his spiritual master. So, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu में उन्होंने बताया कि one should not eat too much and require only to eat to maintain the body. Acha. How many of us feel that we should be rich actually?
I think
this
it
is
is
the
a
point.
desire for everybody, right?
Yeah, this is for all of us. How many of you feel that we should be rich?
The definition keeps changing, Prabhuji. When we don't have a flat, we say we should become flat. Then after that, no, not to this flat, another one.
Very practical. Anybody else would like to share their thoughts on this? It's a just open discussion. I would want each one to participate. That how much money should we require at the time of retirement?
Somewhere in the range of 10 crores.
10 crores. And what about the people who are just living on? Oh, that's a good one. Huh?
So actually, Prabhuji, the idea of quantifying what you require solves for me 50% of the problem. So if you're able to quantify a number, then you can live with whatever that number you have quantified. That is my view. So let us say I just threw a number, but if you say for me to live a retired life, I need this 3 meals or this health, then that is quantified and you can say this is the amount of money I require. Whether you are rich or poor, that quantification in my view is very important.
That's right, Prabhu, because each one has a perspective and I appreciate to what you have said and I respect the way you have put it. It's nice. But sometimes, you know what I feel that if I am not diseased, then I need not worry about the money, what I earn and what I have actually. Because the kind of diseases that come at the time of old age is the real problem where you cannot get proper medical facilities or the amount required to take care of it. But if one lives a healthy life with little bit of sardi, zukam or say a blood pressure or a diabetes also, which is on a controllable level, and there are no major problems in life, क्योंकि पैसा आजकल ज्यादा उसी में जाता है, इसके लिए तो इंश्योरेंस वाले रिच होते जा रहे हैं दिन पर दिन. So quantification of the money, yes, they depend. So live a little bit in the nature. Prabhupada always said that one should live in nature and grow their own food. Well, you can't grow your own food, all of us, because not all of us have the capability. But at least being in an area which is closer to the nature, where there is fresh air, fresh water, of course, much better than the Mumbai bylanes where you struggle every day with so much of issues. So maybe then the cost of living can come down to a little bit level. Like, see, for example, this is my perspective. If I have to live in Mumbai today from between Borivali to Andheri, a minimum flat will cost you around 2.5 crore for a 2 BHK flat, which will be 700 square feet only or 800 square feet. Now, suppose if I move out a little bit and go towards Dhanu Road or somewhere like that, or Palghar, I don't think I require a 2.5 crore flat to be invested. But at the same time, I'm in the periphery of the Mumbai and there is no much pollution over there. And plus my money remains in the bank. Maybe rather than giving it for the steel and cement, but then as I said that we all go by our choices. So that's what it said. It is said over here that, earn what is required for you and live a simple life. But then again, the simplicity also depends upon the place where you live. Because if you're an FNC road guy, or you're a fort guy, or you're in Nariman Point, there is this talk is useless than what I'm giving over here, because then the dynamics completely change depending upon the area where you live. So try and live a more simpler life and more closer to the nature. And you are the best judge to take care of that as to how you can stay closer to the nature. Can we go to the third paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji. The favorable conditions for discharging devotional service are that one should be very enthusiastic in serving the Lord. The Lord, in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wanted the cult of devotional service to the Lord to be preached all over the world, in every nook and corner, and therefore a pure devotee's duty is to discharge his order as far as possible. Every devotee should be very enthusiastic, not only in performing his daily rituals of devotional service, but in trying to preach the cult peacefully by following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. If he is not superficially successful in such an attempt, he should not be deterred from the discharge of his duty. Success or failure has no meaning for a pure devotee because he is a soldier in the field. Preaching the cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against materialistic life. There are different kinds of materialists, such as fruitive workers, the mental speculators, the mystic jugglers, and so many others. All of them are against the existence of God. They would declare that they are themselves God, although in every step and in every action they are dependent on the mercy of the God, Lord. Therefore, a pure devotee may not associate with such gangs of atheists. A strong devotee of the Lord will not be misled by such atheists' propaganda of the non-devotees. But a neopath devotee should be very cautious about them. A devotee should see to the right discharge of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master and should not stick only to the formalities. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one should see how such service is being executed and not simply in the matter of rituals. A devotee should not hanker after anything, but he should be satisfied with things that may automatically come to him by the will of the Lord. That should be the principle of a devotional life. And all these principles are easily learned under the guidance of a spiritual master like Sukadev Goswami. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukadev correctly, and one should follow his example. Maharaj Parikshit inquired about the process of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, the process of Vedic rituals, and the method of executing pious activities in terms of the supplementary Vedas like the Puranas and Mahabharata. As explained before, the Mahabharata is the history of ancient India, and so also are the Puranas. Pious acts are prescribed in the supplementary Vedas, Smritis, which specifically mentioned digging tanks and wells for the water supply of the people in general, to plant trees on the public roads, to construct public temples, and to places of worship of the God, to establish places of charity where the poor destitutes can be provided with foodstuff, and similar activities are called purta. Similarly, the process of fulfilling the natural desires for sense gratification was also inquired about by the king for the benefit of all concerned. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
So in the third paragraph, it is a very self-explanatory thing. What would be the takeaway point from this for the third paragraph?
Devotional service
For
should
a
not be a
devotee-
ritual.
Absolutely, Prabhu. Bullseye. It should not be a ritual thing, it should be spiritual. So what is the difference between spiritual and ritual?
The ritual is more mechanical, can be oriented towards the body. Feeling,
Absolutely, Prabhu.
feelings will be the same as for which is spiritual.
True, Prabhu.
Just
Subal
following
Prabhu, do
a
you
process.
remember? Yeah, continue, Prabhu.
Ritual is something just being followed as a process without any kind of the real devotional service in mind.
Subal Prabhu, remember Patri Prabhu's definition on ritual and spiritual when we were in Nepal?
तो याद नहीं आ रहा है. Fine.
Okay. When you use the word spiritual, it has the word ritual, right? SPIRITUAL.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So SPI stands for Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON. When you add Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON books to ritual, it will become spiritual.
Nice.
When we were in that 7th floor terrace, he came and he was speaking to us. So that is the time I vividly remember him explaining, and I was like wonderstruck. I said, Prabhu, how do you come out with such analogies? He said, Prabhupada deta hai, hum baat karta hai. Imagine he is a Russian guy, KGB expert. Now he's a devotee preaching the glories of the Lord in Nepal and other countries. And he's a GBC for Nepal over there. So here it says that the preaching cult of devotional service is something like declaring war against the materialistic life. There are kinds of materialists such as Buddhists. So a KGB agent is the agent of Krishna now. And this was his version of understanding ritual and spiritual. He said, Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON, when it came into this world, it converted all the ritual, giving it a spiritual value. And I 100% agree to it. Yeah. Anything else in this?
Prabhuji.
How many of us over here have accepted a bona fide spiritual master? Or you suppose the need to accept a bona fide spiritual master. Let me put it this way. How many of us feel the need to have a bona fide spiritual master after going through these wonderful purports of Srila Prabhupada?
Prabhuji, I feel the need of having a spiritual master.
Because unless you don't show the need of it, the Paramatma will not interfere in your decisions. Unless you take a call, the Paramatma will be neutral. So this is something, do work on it. My request is that, each one of you just think of a guru who will be able to give you the guidance. And like here also, we are doing the job of Margadarshak and Siksha Guru's job, but get connected to one of the gurus and make your life successful, because in the long term, you will see that it makes a big difference. There is a particular incident that happened to us in the year 2008. I don't know if I've shared it on this forum. Prabhu, we'll finish the verse number 22 also, then I will come on to that. So now 3 things. I have to show you 1 chart and 2 kathas, provided you all have time.
Sure, Prabhuji. We have
We'll
time.
go to verse number 8. Yeah. यो वानुशयिनां सर्गः पाषाण्डस्य च सम्भवः आत्मनो बन्धमोक्षौश्च व्यवस्थितानां स्वरूपतः.
Please also explain how, merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created and how the infidels appear in the world. Please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist. The progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master how living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. There are two kinds of living entities. There are the ever liberated unconditional living beings as well as the ever conditioned living beings. Of the ever conditioned living beings, there are two divisions. They are the faithful and the infidels. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions, namely the devotees and the mental speculators. The mental speculators desire to merge into the existence of the Lord or to become one with the Lord, whereas the devotee of the Lord desire to keep separate identities and constantly engage in the service of the Lord. The devotees who are not fully purified, as well as the empiric philosophers, become conditioned again during the next creation for further purification. Such conditioned souls become liberated by further progress of devotional service of the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit asked all these questions from the bona fide spiritual master in order to become fully equipped in the science of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this, again, the spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master is important. When we say infidels, what do we understand from the word infidel, Prabhus?
Those who do not believe in the supreme.
Yeah.
God.
True, Prabhuji, yeah. So those who do not believe in the supreme there. And when you speak about the mental speculator desire to merge in the existence of the Lord or become one with the Lord. So even though they are faithful, yeah, Prabhupada has very big-heartedly accepted them as faithful because yes, it requires a lot of strain and strength to go to that level of mental speculation. But what happens to them? What happens to the mental speculators? It means the people who are jnanis, who say that I am not the body, I am the soul. So they understand that and they feel that I and God are same after I leave the body, so I need to merge my existence into them. So what happens to them?
ब्रह्म तेज में मिल जाते हैं ना प्रभु,
ब्रह्म ज्योति में मिल जाते हैं,
ब्रह्म
लेकिन
ज्योति.
वहां पर उनका दशा क्या रहता है? आर दे हैप्पी? दे आर ब्रह्मानंदी?
No, they are.
No, Prabhuji, after some time they feel frustrated and they come back to the earth again.
And what is the reason of frustration? That is the right point. Prabhupada has mentioned
Because
that.
there is nothing to do.
Yeah, there is no activity.
Yeah, and the soul is active and it cannot stay passive for a long period of time.
Because from the Jnani perspective, he has achieved the destination. But after achieving the destination, he cannot stay there. Sustenance is not there because there is no Adan Pradhan of Bodhayanta Parasparam. So Prabhupada beautifully puts it in this way, that how do you understand the soul in the Brahma Jyoti? On a winter day, Prabhu, through your glass pane, you see the sun rays coming in your house. So in the sun rays, can you see dust particles? Have you observed it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
हल्का हल्का सा कुछ पार्टिकल्स हवा में रहता है, वो एक दूसरे को टच होके चला जाता है, बट उसका एक दूसरे से कोई संबंध नहीं है. So Prabhupada says that the Brahma Jyoti is the spectrum of that sun coming through the window pane, and the dust particles are the soul who come and collide with each other also, but there is no such activity. And what is the actual, guna of the soul? Quality of the soul is to be anandmay. But unless adan pradhan nahi karenge, anand kaise milega? So the frustration comes and they fall down. And this is confirmed where
So technically,
Yeah.
I had read that the Satchitananda qualities which are part of the soul, the Ananda factor is missing in the Brahma Jyoti as the activities are missing. So since the Sat and Chit does exist without Ananda, that Ananda being missing, it causes the frustration. And then the upward journey then is either, he desires to continue the upward journey.
Yeah, Prabhu, that is right. To add on to it, those who are Brahma Jyoti Walas, they become Brahmanandi. But because they are not Premanandi, which takes them to Paramananda. It is Brahmananda, Premananda, Paramananda. When you go from Brahmanandi to Premanandi, then only you can become Paramanandi. Like the case of Shukdev Goswami and the four Kumaras. They were Brahmanandis, but they were not averse to the Lord. They are not Mayavadis. They never said that the Lord has no form. They were happy in what state they were. So when the Lord saw that they are happy in what state they are, the Lord promoted them to Paramananda. That is one part of it. The next part is, Rao Prabhu, can you come to Canto 10, Chapter 2? Canto 10, Chapter 2, verse number 34.
Rao Prabhu, don't do it in the same tab. Open a new tab and do.
So you will go to 10 to 34. Canto 10, Prabhu. Canto 10. Yeah. Chapter number 2, verse number 34. This is the perfect answer given by the Devatas to what happens to the Brahmanandi. 1 minute. Prabhu, make it 10 to, just hold on. 32, sorry, Prabhu, 32. 10 to 32. Just go back by 2. 10 to 32. So it says, Ye anna arvindaksha vimukti mananas. Yeah. Tvaya asta bhavad avishuddha buddhaya. Aruya krichena parampadam tataha. Patantyado andadrita yusmadan angraya. So it says that someone may say, aside from the devotee, just read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Someone may say that aside from the devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet.
This is what happens to the mental speculators, Prabhuji. Just go to the verse again. There are 2 points in this. Yeah, that's it. Keep it that way. So it says, Ye anna arvindaksha. Oh, my dear lotus-eyed one, vimukti mana, falsely considering themselves free from the, because as soon as you say, I am not the body, I am the soul, and I'm equal to God, because the soul and the super soul are qualitatively same, the contamination comes because of the word called avishuddha buddhaya. Avishuddha buddhaya means one whose intelligence is not fully purified. There is still a tinge of karma, jnana or jnana khand in that. So Aruya Krichena means with severe austerity. Parampadam, for them Parampadam is Brahma Jyoti. But Patantyadho means when he falls down. Anadrita Yusmad Agrah. Why? Because Anadrita means वो जो आपके चरणों का आदर नहीं करता. Angraya means the lotus feet of the Lord. So for the mental speculators, this is the problem. Though Prabhupada tells them that they are devotees because they are also trying to go to Brahma Jyoti, but because they have no respect for the lotus feet of the Lord, they fall down. So now we come back to that same verse again, the next one that we were doing, Prabhu. Yeah. So infidels ho gaya. Okay. So any doubts in this? Before I show you something, can I share something? Replace the current share. Okay. Share. Prabhu, can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, this is the Vishwa Virat Swarup as per the Vedic cosmology. This is Lord Narayana. This is the Tapalok or Satyalok. Lord Brahma is here. Sun is the right eye. Moon is the left eye. Agni is in the mouth. Then you have Bhur Bhuva Swarga. So this is Swarga Lok. In between this area is Bhuvar Lok. Here it is Bhulok. This is the ocean. Then from here, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Patal, Rasatal. And this is the Patal Lok of all, where the Nag Lok is there. So the entire planetary system is covered in this particular imaginary Vishwa Virat Swarup. The Brahma Jyoti comes from here, up, after this. These are all the Prajapatis, progenitors. Then we have the planetary systems which are in the air. I'll show that later on. So just for one katha now, when we say about why we should have a spiritual master, there is a reason for that. And it so happened to us that in the year 2007, His Grace Jagdiv Jagannath Prabhu initiated a process in Dubai to have a Siksha program. So three of us were nominated to take care of the program. Myself, Purushottam Prabhu and Gopi Manohar Prabhu. So I was taking care of the devotees who were chanting 16 rounds and above. So we used to have one Malayali devotee by the name of Ramesh, who had joined ISKCON in Qatar for 12 years, and in Dubai he was for 3 years. Very sincere devotee, would get up at 3 in the morning and do everything. Never he would miss a Mangala Arati. So once we chatted with him that why don't you take initiation? He said, Prabhu, when I do everything what I'm supposed to do, why should I take initiation? What is the point? It's not necessary to have guru in the life. I'm doing everything in the right way as Prabhupada has mentioned. So the Siksha program started. He was regular over there. After 6 months, one day he came and told me, said, Prabhu, I have a doubt. Said, what? He said, I do not get the taste and relishment of doing my service. It has become mechanical and it has become like a burden. I said, that is because you are not initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. So that is the reason your activity is not giving you that kind of a frame of mind. So he was a little bit philosophical. He said, Prabhu, can you prove it with an analogy that why? Because why Krishna should not accept me in his service when I'm doing the things the right way as mentioned in the scriptures? So I told him, you forgot Krishna's statement, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya, Bhagavad Gita 4:32. And then I gave him an analogy given by Mahanidhi Swami in his Gayatri book. He says that if one has to grow a banyan tree, how will they grow it? Anybody can help me? If I have to plant a banyan tree, how should I grow it?
In an open area.
Okay. What would be the other requirements?
Prabhuji, seeds of the banyan tree.
Yes, that's right. Seed of the banyan tree, correct. Good. Anything else? Can somebody give more inputs?
Prabhu, soil, water, sunlight, everything would be later water.
Yeah. So now, why I particularly chose banyan tree only? I could have chosen any tree, Prabhus and Matajis. I could have spoken about mango, apple. Why banyan tree?
Because it is the largest tree or the
Yeah, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the people or banyan, okay. Now, there is a process to, now if I take a seed and I put it in the mud and water it for 100 years also, Prabhu, it will not fructify. Especially the banyan tree. Because banyan tree, what happens? The crow or the sparrow has to come and eat the seed and digest it. And when in the droppings it falls, it fructifies the next day. So this analogy, how does it fit from Mahanidhi Swami's teachings? He says that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra or the Mool Mantra or the good mantra that you get when it comes from a proper parampara which is ingested by the pure devotee and given to you, then it will fructify. And the next thing that happened was Ramesh was so much convinced. He went to Jagjiv Jagannath Prabhu, gave his name. He got initiation within 6 months. Ram Bhadra Keshav Das. So that is the importance of Guru in the life, because Guru acts as that mediator wherein he has what it says, Tadviti Pranipatena Pariprashnana Seva Upadekshantitena Jnaninas Tattvadarshina. जिन्होंने तत्व का दर्शन किया है उनसे आप सीखो जाके. So when a Tattvadarshi, pure devotee, has understood the Lord, so from his heart, he transfers the Lord to your heart during the initiation day. On the initiation ceremony, he takes the Japamala and gives to you, and he prays to the Lord that may you enter into his heart. Just exactly like how Vasudev did to Devaki. That is also the Guru Shishya Parampara. पहले श्री कृष्ण भगवान वसुदेव के शरीर में आए, वसुदेव के हृदय से फिर देवकी के हृदय में जाके गर्भ में गए. He did not go through the normal channel of pregnancy. Krishna came into the heart of Devaki and went into the womb. So same way, during the initiation, the Guru empowers you with Krishna, and that's how Krishna's mantra then starts to getting fructified. So that was the story that I wanted to share with all. Hare Krishna. Any doubts, any questions? Today's was a long session actually, but it was interesting.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Your sessions are always interesting, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you all make it interesting by your questions. And thanks to Subal Prabhu for giving us this opportunity in the forum to work out things, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful session like always. Anybody has any question or otherwise you can.
Because that one katha, I will do it next time. Just remind me, okay? And
Oh,
I will
sure.
also tell you the name of the katha is how Satyabhama's ahankar was crushed by Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu.
So that अगर मैं भूल भी जाऊं मैं क्या बोलने वाला हूं तो आप लोग मुझे याद दिला सकते हो. कभी-कभी मैं भी भूल जाता हूं.
Okay, sure, Prabhu.
Sure.
Many thanks, Prabhu. Many thanks.
ठीक है?
It was a long but wonderful session.
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you everyone for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Let's
Hare.
chant Vaishnav Pranam before we end the session. Let's actually make this as a habit for every
Yes, that's right, Prabhu.
Vancha Kalpat
Vancha
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा
Buddha
पावनेभ्यो
Pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Ananta Koti Vaishnava.
जय
I will
Prabhupada.
send across that Virat Swarup Prabhu photo to you, Subal Prabhu.
Okay, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Subal
Thank you,
Prabhuji, what was this prayer just now which we sang?
Okay, this is a pranam mantra that we speak, which meaning asked for mercy of all the Vaishnavas, because the Vaishnavas are kind of a tree which can fulfill each and every desire.
Kalpavriksha.
Can you send it in some
Yeah,
writing?
I will put that in the group. Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Many
Hare
thanks.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare.